Hi, Merve.
Hello.
Mhm. Our next speaker is Merve Nguyen. Merve is a developer advocate at Hugging Face, working on developing tools and building content around them to democratize machine learning for everyone. And she'll explain to us how to showcase our model demos with spaces. So I'm very excited to learn more about those.
Let's go.
Awesome. Just a question for you, Merve. The one that I should share is Merve Talk or Merve Space Demo?
Yeah, Merve talk first and then Merve space demo second.
Great. Just adding this now. Moment of truth. Are we still live? Yeah. Great. See you soon for the questions.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Hugging Face course event. I'm Merve and in this talk I'll be talking about spaces. I was a machine learning engineer building information extraction tools and chatbots. Currently, I'm working as a developer advocate at Hugging Face and a graduate student working on NLP. At Hugging Face, we provide you datasets and models you need to build your machine learning applications. Those are the hub, transformers, and datasets. I come from a data science path rather than a developer path, and one thing I found painful was building demos to the models I created and deploying them. If you're just like me, we've got you covered with our new feature called Spaces. For instance, I have this story generator app, which consists of 3 models sequentially added together. I have one model that is from French to English, one English story generator, and another model from English to French. I've written this app with only a few lines of code and deployed it in minutes, and I will show you how to do that. And no, I didn't write any JavaScript code or didn't build my API with Flask. I used Gradio for this and deployed it on Spaces. We support both Streamlit and Gradio SDKs. Basically, I define my interface in Gradio. I passed example inputs to help the end user, defined title and description to my demo, passed 3 models as series added together. I defined my input component, which is a text box, and launched it. Uploading this piece of code to Spaces will be enough for me to serve it and showcase my projects to the stakeholders. In Hugging Face, you can work with the stakeholders of your project in Hugging Face organizations and share your spaces internally, build your demos, and showcase your models to the stakeholders or clients. Personally, I find it easy to showcase my portfolio through Hugging Face Spaces. They are hosted on your profile. You might say it's cool, but which SDK should I use? We recommend you to give a try to both. Our 2 cents is, with Gradio you can build easy-to-use simple interfaces by specifying your model, inputs, and outputs. Meanwhile, Streamlit provides more flexibility with the community components. There are many cool spaces out there. For instance, this anime gun space draws you as an anime character. This is built with Gradio. Another cool space lets you chat with Gandalf. This one is built with Gradio as well. You simply need to go to Hub, on top right corner, click your icon, and create a new space. Name your space, pick the SDK you want to use, and create your space. Directly drag and drop your app.py file, or use GitLFS to push your application to space, and you will have your app in minutes. If you need extra help with SDKs and spaces, I've written 2 blog posts for both of the SDKs to help you get started. Thanks a lot for listening and enjoy the event.
You're on mute, Lewis.
Thanks. So yeah, we're going to now just quickly have a look at a hands-on demo from Merve with a space, and then we'll dive into a Q&A.
Thanks.
This is one of my favorite projects, and it has generative models that you can write with. So let's write, my name is Merve and I like to This is going to complete my text, and I have replicated with Streamlit and transformers. It takes a couple of parameters that I will explain shortly. So let's go there. So this is my space, and I have replicated right with transformers. It takes maximum length, temperature. This is a parameter that decides the conservativeness and how random your outputs are going to be. These are sampling parameters. Let's do this. So I have written, hi, I'm Merve and I like to play games. Let's say, my name is Merve and I like to... I like to play guitar. I am a student at University of Texas at Austin. Okay. So how I did it? Good question. I'm going to show you how did I do that shortly. So my Streamlit application actually consists of only an app.py file, requirements file, and the README. So I have written an inference code. I have written the same thing using only pipeline, which was a very short code, but I wanted to show you this one in particular. So in Streamlit, if you would like to optimize some processes that take a lot of time, you can do st.cache. It will load your model in a faster way. And I have written this inference code, which takes a couple of parameters. These parameters will come from the UI here. And I'm going to tell you how to do that shortly. So this is the title, which is here. It's like a header. And this is st.write, you write some text. And you can take your parameters here. So if you do st.sidebar, this is going to take your slider to the sidebar. If not, it will be here. But I want it to be here, so I have taken it to the sidebar. I have temperature, I have top K and top P. If you have an integer input, use number input. If you have a continuous input, use slider. And I have my text area, which I will input the text in. This is the default value. So it's see how a neural network auto-completes your text. So it was here previously, and I have taken it to here. This was the default value. And I do inference, and I just output the result of the inference, and I just write it there. So it is here. Next, I'm going to show you a Gradio application. So I have made another application, which is story generation with GPT-2. I'm going to show you how to do that, but let's run it for a second. So I use it to generate Dungeons and Dragons stories. I have entered adventure is approached by a mysterious stranger in the tavern for a new quest, and it has generated me a nice, beautiful, probably Scandinavian related story, and I'm going to show you how I did that. So this is my app.py file. I only have this and nothing else, by the way. I have given description. which is this, and the title, and an example to give a hint to the user so that they know what they are supposed to input. So examples are given as a list. I am going to give the model name. Make sure to put a hugging face slash to indicate that this is a hugging face model. This is the model name. I have passed, title, and description, and I just launched it, and I have this beautiful interface. Now I'm going to show you something even more interesting, which is Gradio series. So this is a French story generator, but I have used the same model. So I have an example again. I'm going to submit this, and I will probably not understand what does it output. But still, this is probably something valid. So let me show you how I did that. So I'm going to go to my app.py file. So in Gradio, there is something called series. It adds your models sequentially. So I have 3 models here. One is from French to English. Another one is story generator. And this one is from English to French. So what I'm basically doing is that my first input is inferred inside this from French to English model here. And my second input, which is the output of the first input, is going to be inferred in this story generator. And my the output of this story generator will be inferred here. So in the end, I'm going to autocomplete this input. So in the end, I have a nice French story generator, which is this beautiful application done with Gradio with only few lines of code. So last application I will show you is Streamlit exploratory data analysis hosted in Hugging Face Spaces. So I have this poetry dataset, which consists of various poetries, authors, the name, age, and the type. I have done a couple of data visualization on this dataset. Some of them consist of Streamlit components, which are very good, interactive, nicely done. Other ones are Matplotlib and Seaborn. So let's get started. The good thing about this component is that you can see the content of a cell. You can order by columns, which is very good. I have done a couple of visualizations in Matplotlib. I'm going to show you. I have visualized the number of poems for each author, and this is done in Seaborn. I have shown the distribution of poem types according to ages and authors. This is also done in Matplotlib. I have done a word cloud of modern poems and Renaissance poems, and I have standardized the content of the dataset by getting rid of special characters and lowercasing them. So I'm writing my explanations and headers using Streamlit components, right subheader. So if you would like to use Seaborn and Matplotlib, you can use st.pyplot to print your Matplotlib and Seaborn plots. That's what I did with the Matplotlib and Seaborn plots in this application. So to get the distributions, I have done a couple of encoding and I plotted it, and I have shown it with Streamlit pyplot as well. So for the word cloud, I got the Renaissance poems and the modern poems. I have passed them to the word cloud to prompt them. So lastly, I have this bar charts that prompts most appearing words, including stop words. I have the most appearing 50 words. This was the bar chart I have just shown you, the interactive one. So this is the end of the demo. Enjoy the rest of the event.
Welcome back.
Hi again, Merve. So thanks a lot for this talk and for this demo.
Thank you so much for hosting me.
So the first question is that you showed an example of a live demo of a model and another example where you did some data visualization of a data set. And what are other application of spaces that are common or that you could think of?
Can you rephrase the question again?
I was saying like you showed an example of using a model. And then you also showed an example of like doing a dataset visualization, both using spaces. And I was wondering, are there like other amazing application of spaces that are common like those two, or is this done pretty much for the two things you showed us?
I have to think about it. I don't know. There is probably like there are so many good applications. Like there is this one application called Pipeline Visualizer by Omar.
Okay.
He has visualized the spacey pipelines. It is really good. What else? I want to create this data visualization metric tool, sort of using Streamlit on Hugging Face. Like I'm on it at the moment, so hopefully it will be done. But people are also like showing their tools, demoing them, which is awesome. So I think you will probably get to do that as well.
Nice, very nice. And another question was like for the model demonstrations, what kind of hardware does the space run on? Is it like just a CPU, or do we have access to GPUs using spaces?
We do have access to GPUs, but I don't think that all of the spaces are actually getting them. It's a complicated answer actually, but most of them have CPUs. Yeah.
That makes sense. And let me check the forum. Did you have any questions, Lewis, on your end?
Yeah, I was wondering, like, if we want to build something in the Streamlit or Radio, what do you see as like the main sort of benefits or trade-offs between them, because they're kind of quite different philosophically?
Yeah, I just feel like Gradio is incredibly easy machine learning demo. Like you can build your machine learning model demos in like minutes, because it also has built-in components. For Streamlit, it has this basis and it covers you from exploratory data analysis to the end. But the problem is if you want to use something additional like spacey components or video components, you need additional dependencies for them. So I would go with if I were to demo some data visualizations and stuff, I would definitely go with Streamlit. It also provides a lot of flexibility. But if I want to wrap up a very easy demo of my machine learning model, I would use Gradio. We recommend both of them, and both of them are awesome. It's just there are some trade-offs in both of them.
Cool. And
Makes
another
sense.
question might be that when I'm building, say, a project in the course event in the next couple of days, most people who say are using transformers, they're pretty familiar with the pipeline function, which wraps all of the post-processing and pre-processing. But I think I saw in one of your demos that you were actually kind of calling the backend. I think you were using something maybe on the inference API, and I was just wondering if you could kind of explain about that and why would I do that instead of just using a pipeline function?
To be honest, I just saw more flexibility by calling from pre-trained than calling pipeline or inference API. I just wanted the model to be cached and just ready to use. And also when you do Streamlit cache, I think it's cached in the container. So it's like it loads really fast. But you can also use pipeline. It's very it's very easy to write your inferences with pipeline and also inference API. I totally recommend them. I have both, by the way. Like I have done both, but for this one, I just wanted to show more code. That's why I actually picked the one that I have written with from pre-trained.
Yeah, I think one thing that I've found is if you have a lot of models, like for example, right now I'm building a Streamlit application which has like 10 like different models, and this is maybe a case where the inference API is really useful because you can't load in the
Yeah, of
memory
course.
of
Yeah.
the container, and
Like people are demoing their models in Streamlit by putting a drop down, and in that
exactly.
drop down there are like multiple models. Like for write with transformers, if I were going to do with GPT-2, ExelNet and other generative models, I would definitely use Inference API. But for this one, I only had GPT-2. That's why I also picked it. But I have written this for my blog post actually, and I have explained all of the code there. So that's why I actually wanted to demo that, and that was my reason for that particular one.
Cool. Maybe one last question is asking everyone this. What do you do at Hugging Face? So what is a developer advocate at Hugging Face? And maybe you can just explain a little bit like, that it's not the standard kind of job.
Yeah. To be honest, before I landed in Hugging Face, I was a huge fan of Hugging Face and everyone in here. And what I have observed was that you actually like in Hugging Face, everyone is actually sort of a developer advocate, empowering the users of Hugging Face. Like I attended this sprint and I have learned a lot of things because people were actually helping me out. So I felt like this is what I'm going to do. So that's why I applied for, developer advocacy. Uh, we basically build tools and do integrations. It's mostly a technical job, by the way, because developer advocacy varies from company to company. We do integrations. We build content around them so that we can democratize it. Currently, I have this project called Task Pages and Task Series. It is the audience of this project is mostly the software developers because I was a struggling machine learning engineer previously, and I thought, like if you want to build a product, the things that you need to know are actually use cases, metrics, a little bit of them explained simply. The models that you need to use, the data sets you have to fine tune on, like all of them need to be like in one place as a task, in my opinion, at least. So that's why the first time I arrived, I decided I'm going to do this because I know that there are people like me out there who are struggling to build machine learning products. So this is something I'm currently doing. This is more of a democratization effort for software developers. Yeah, like my job consists of doing integrations and this mostly, and doing just getting out there and tell everyone what we are doing. Actually, I am doing talks on TensorFlow and spaces like this one.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions, Sylvan?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks a lot for your talks and for all the answers to the questions, Merve.
Thank you so much for hosting me. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.